Hi, my name is Nick Siebert, and today I want to discuss insightful leadership, becoming an insightful and aware leader. When we talk about insightful leadership, what does that mean? By creating and developing the right organizational culture by communicating expectations, clearly defining vision and goals, inspiring and motivating stakeholders, engage in compassionate discussions, emphasizing a need for diverse and well-rounded opinions. When we talk about communicating expectations, it's simply communicating to your stakeholders, either it be direct reports or others within the organization, being clear with your communications, explaining exactly what you're looking for, what you're needing, and making sure that everyone's on the same page. And that really is step one with any organization, to making sure that leadership and those underneath are understanding what the situation calls for and what the expectations are for everyone involved. Clearly defining vision and goals. Within that, communication also exists pretty prevalently. You want to focus with your stakeholders exactly what your vision and goal is, and there it really centers around clarity. And we talk about a lot of that with DAFT and the leadership experience, but those are things that you really want to make sure that everyone's on the same page with. Communication is there, vision and goals are clear, and everything is understood by those that are working beneath you. Inspiring and motivating stakeholders, well, that comes to understanding what their motivations are and finding the right motivations to get them to do what you're looking for when you move forward. Engage in compassionate discussions. Really there what we want to talk about is having a motivation there, like we talked about in the step above, but engaging in those discussions with all the stakeholders involved and making sure that you understand where people's passions lie. It may not directly be with something that makes you passionate, but something that a leader can understand and properly motivate their base when they understand where everyone's coming from and if they're open with the discussions. Emphasizing a need for diverse and well-rounded opinions. We've talked about that in several of our discussions with DAFT and with Hargreaves and with a lot of the information that we've pulled from journal articles and the studies that Professor Helgeson provided us. But that is just the biggest thing that people need to understand is emphasizing a need for diverse and well-rounded opinions, not just to fill quotas, but because understanding different points of view help really round out the team and also helps you understand problems from different perspectives. And I guess I can't put that point in anymore. It is vastly important that an organization understand that so that they're not just going in from a narrow point of view, and that a leader understands that they need well-rounded people around them, that they don't just need yes people or people with their same background or same understandings. You really have to have people with different opinions so you can understand the problem from a different number of levels. Awareness and leadership. Foster an insightful and aware organization by owning organizational culture and direction, creating an open atmosphere, initiating tough discussions about perceptions and biases, championing the importance of diversity in the organization, and illustrate how diverse opinions improve the organization. And the owning organizational culture and direction, and that comes from a leadership perspective, is the company culture should reflect what leadership wants for that organization. And when you see in the news things like the Wells Fargo situation, where leadership obviously wasn't clearly defining what they were looking for from their organization from a cultural standpoint, from an ethical standpoint, and there's no clarity there. There's not enough communication. There's a disconnect between those people. And owning that organizational culture is really leadership and senior leadership's responsibility. And then next, creating an open atmosphere. You want to be able to have discussions about different topics, even hot button topics that not necessarily everyone wants to discuss. But if you're going to be a leader that's aware, you need to understand that not everyone's opinion is your own, and you have to be open to that. And I think that's key when you're trying to understand the organization from within. Initiating tough discussions about perceptions and biases, and championing the importance of diversity within the organization. are very linked, and I discussed it on the last slide. But we all have internal biases, and a lot of the research that we've done through the journal articles that we've looked through cover that. You have a certain bias that's already pre-programmed you, and it's not necessarily racially motivated, but you have certain preconceived conceptions of people before you even discuss anything with them. And so I think it's important that people are aware of those, and awareness is one of the keys in my Insightful Leadership, because if you understand that those flaws exist within yourself and others, without then being able to act on them, and that's illustrate how diverse opinions improve the organization, and those steps all kind of go together. You need to let people know that it's not something where they're discriminating knowingly, right? There's unconscious things going on in your mind, and bringing that awareness within the organization helps, so that people understand when they're looking for a new hire that, although it may seem logical to hire someone that's like them and has a certain skill set that's like theirs, they want to avoid that because they want to have different opinions, and they want to bring in people with a different skill set to help round out the team. Influence and inspire the organization around diversity by illustrating the results of a diverse organization dynamic, focusing on the long-term positive effects of equality in the workplace, making people aware of their own instincts and unconscious biases, demonstrating a willingness to listen to differing opinions. And this, all these are kind of connected, but the inspirational part is, putting your money where your mouth is, showing the organization that you are yourself willing to go the extra mile and put those things in place to assure that you have a diverse workplace, that people are aware of their own unconsciousness, and you're listening to other people's opinions, and you really want to foster that differing of opinions within teams, within groups, within business units, within the organization, and you got to participate that to be really an inspiring leader, so that you're helping to influence the rest of the culture and the organization by showing them that this is something that you've bought into as well. Fostering trust in leadership. Create an atmosphere of trust surrounding leadership by understanding different levels of readiness within the organization, accountability from the top down, and involving all stakeholders in change management. And really, this trust piece is really centering around accountability, and then understanding your organization and getting involvement and communication from everyone from within. The levels of readiness and the type of change that you're trying to do in your organization really play a part. And so it's very important, as Daft describes, understanding the level of readiness between individuals, teams, units, so that you can approach them differently and understand where they're coming from and help them so that your change can be successful as you move through that change. So just to summarize, insightful leadership requires communication, not just any communication, but the proper type for each individual. And we discussed that, it really depends on the level of readiness and on the business unit and how their team operates, or how that unit operates, that individual operates, and focusing on that. And awareness, just understanding your own self and internal motivations, and then understanding too within your organization, the culture, and what type of internal motivations they have, so that you can understand how to best make change and how to best understand that. And inspiration, demonstrating honest and true compassion for what you do and those that help you. I think that's the biggest thing, is having that compassion for others around you, and inspiring through your own actions, so that others understand that you're all in, and that this is important to you as well. And it's not just about dollars or cents, or just not about corporate initiatives. It's a personal matter for you as well. Trust, and that's the most important. Obviously, Horsager, we read an entire book about trust and the trust edge, and having trust, and how easy it is to lose it, and then how hard it is to gain it back, and what customers and stakeholders are looking for from an organization. And so earn trust by having complete transparency on the organization's vision and direction. And I think that's step one to getting people to buy into any kind of change that you want to make, but also to having them understand what type of organization you are, or that you want to be, so that they can be part of the transformation, or they want to be a part of that culture because you've demonstrated, this is what we want to do. This is who we choose to be, and I think people can rally around something like that. So all those things are required for insightful leadership, and so as you move forward, and as we move forward in our program, those are just the things I truly want to remember, and I want everyone else to remember is it's the type of leadership that we strive to be, and so that for me is a takeaway, is that I need to remember these things in order to be a thoughtful and insightful leader. You can send questions via email to me at nsiebert4@gmail.com, or we can discuss in class.